Alright guys, this is a video tutorial on how to use Audacity, which is a open source audio recorder and editor, to record your Skype calls and edit them. Okay, so it is fairly simple to use. It should run on most systems, and with some of the tips and tricks that I will show you in this video, you should be able to manage it quite capably. So, excuse me. Right, all you need to do is you need to go to the Drive link, the Google Drive link, which I have already shared with you. In there, you will see something called Podcast Apps. So let's double click that. So you have two software there. One is called Amolto Skype Call Recorder, and the other is Audacity. Now you can use this. It's another way to record the calls, but you can actually skip this and go directly into Audacity, because Audacity can do multi-track recording and at the same time do the various editing processes. So you only need this one app. So double click that. You'll see two files there. One is the main application. This is a Windows file. This is the latest version, if I'm not wrong, 2.1.3. So you can just download that and install that. Okay, pretty straightforward to install. Then there is another file called lane. Now what this file is actually an MP3 encoder. Now Audacity doesn't have its own native MP3 encoder. What that means is it records the audio as a WAV file, W-A-V. Okay, so that's the raw audio file. And that's good. A WAV file is actually one of the best forms that you could use in order to edit. The problem with the WAV file is that it tends to be very large, so that's where you have to use MP3. Okay, so the MP3 compresses the file, makes it smaller, easier for upload, and send it via email and stuff like that, all through WeTransfer. So it doesn't have a native MP3 compression built into it. You will need to install this app. Okay, download and install it, and you will have the MP3 settings. Make sure you can run this immediately after you run the main application installation. Don't open the Audacity application after you've installed it. Okay, so that's it. That's installation. It should be fairly straightforward. There's no additional things to bear in mind there. So, okay, let me just open Audacity now. Okay, so this is Audacity. It's very, very simple to use. It looks quite plain when you look at it, but it is quite powerful once you learn how to use it. Okay, now there are a lot of things that you can do with this software, and I'm not going to go through everything, but I'll teach you the most important things. The first thing you need to do is to ensure that your devices, the audio devices for both your incoming audio and your microphone, are set properly. So you would go into, you can do it here. Okay, you can see the microphone icon here. So just set it at the correct microphone input. So mine is the microphone Realtek high definition. It's stereo recording. You want stereo as much as possible because you want to preserve as much fidelity in the sound. And then the audio that you're hearing back from, I say speakers Realtek as well. Okay, and that's it. You can start recording. I can just press the record button. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. So you can see this is my voice being recorded, and we play that back. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. So that's it. You've made a recording, right? Now, what happens is when you start Skype, when you start the call, you press the record button, and we start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the forecast. Okay, so I just showed you an example of how you would start a recording once you have all of your callers and guests on Skype. You do a countdown and then you insert the pause. Now, it's very important that you do all of this, or at the very least, put a pause, silence pause, so that visually I will be able to see where the recording starts. And I need to be able to do that because I may not have the time, and usually I don't, in the editing process to hear the whole podcast. I'm just doing things visually. Okay? Now, after I teach you some of these things, you will be able to do this yourself. Okay? So that takes some of the burden away. But yeah, that's how you do it. You play that back. And we start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the forecast. All right, that's it. It's as simple as that. Now, I can just delete this. Okay, so that's how you record. And now I'm going to show you how to do some basic editing. Okay, basic editing. But before that, what you need to do is you need to ensure, and this is a very, very important step. Okay, what you need to do is to ensure that the sound levels. Okay, can you see this? This is actually your playback level. Okay, which is the decibel meter. Okay, so if now you can see this moving on now. You can see this decibel meter, the recording level. Okay, now this is very important because it is showing you what is the level of the recording input. So at this moment, it's only my voice and it's reaching something like -6 dB. Okay, -6, remember, -6 is the level that you should be aiming for. Okay, whether is it for your own microphone or for all of your guests. So all of your guests need to consistently try and be as close as possible to -6, -9, -6, around there. Okay, try not to go too much below that or try not to go too much above that. It's okay. Once in a while you can see red zone like this. That's fine. But you don't want something like this because this is too low. And then what happens is some people are talking like that, and some people are talking like that, and so in the final recording, it's very distracting. Someone needs to keep adjusting the volume control. Okay, so you want the levels to be as close to -9, -6 as possible in this zone. Now you see here that my level is quite low if I'm speaking normally. So how do I rectify this? Very simple. If you use a Windows device, I can just go to Device Manager. Oops, sorry. Audio devices, recording, microphone, properties, and I can set a level of boost. Okay, so I put it at +10. Okay, now I'm talking normally and I'm already hitting the -9, -6 levels much closer. Okay, so that's something that your guests can do if their if their audio coming through is too low. Okay, if they're too low, they can just work on that. On their microphone boost, okay, to bring their volume up. Or if sometimes they could be over boosted. Okay, if it's always in the red zone, then you might want to reduce it a little bit. So then it goes back to the lower one. Okay? Okay, so that's where we are. Let me just boost this back up again. Okay, typically speaking, if you're using a normal mobile phone headset with a mic attached, a cheap headset like the one that I'm currently using, then then you're going to run into quality issues like needing to boost the audio. But if you use a more professional microphone, okay, and when I say microphone, I don't mean a microphone attached to a gaming headset. That's not at the right level yet. That's still quite a low quality kind of product, no matter how much you may have paid for it. Okay, so you would want everybody to be in and around the same level. That's going to be very, very important. So do the check before you are recording this whole the proper podcast. Obviously, in order to see this now, I'm recording all of this so that you can see. Now, if you want to see the whole, because it just goes sequentially like this. If you want to see the whole frame, you just click this fit project, and you can see. Okay, you can see how I started before I boosted my mic. You can see how it was quite low, and then I did this variation in the volume test. And then when I boosted my mic, suddenly you can see that it's peaking. The peaks are filling out better, right? Okay, so now you can see this moving on now. You can see this decibel meter, the recording level. Okay, now this is very important because it is showing you what is the level of the recording input. Okay, so now you have tested. So what you need to do is get each person to say something. Remember, when I do the recording, I always get each person to say something, to read something. It has to be continuous. So you just want to see where they are landing in the recording level. This is the reason why. Now you know the reason why I asked you before you start the recording. I asked you to say something or to read something. It has to be more than hi. Yeah, that's not enough. You need to read something. Just read anything randomly. Hi, my name is Joseph. Thank you for having me on Forecast. It is a pleasure to be on. Stuff like that. Keep rambling. Just long enough for you to see where the bulk of their recording level is falling. So that is the most important thing. That's what you need to achieve. Make sure that you hear all of them individually, and make sure that each of them are speaking at one time. Okay, not all at once. Okay, so if you need to get them to shut up, tell them to shut up, and then name them. Okay, Eric, you go first. Amir, next. Keith, next, and so on and so forth, so that you are seeing that all of the levels are there. And if they're below or over, you know the adjustments that need to be made as I've shown you. Okay, so now that you've done all of that, you can start the recording. Okay, and so you start the recording and you're doing the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the forecast. Make sure you insert that silence. That silence is very important. Okay. Now, you have finished recording. Okay, so once you finish recording, just click stop. Click stop. So this is your WAV file. If you want to see it fit to the project frame, just click this. Fit the project, and this is the whole WAV file. Now, what you want to do is you want to clean this up as much as possible. And there are some simple tips that I'm going to share with you that you can use to clean this audio up. Okay. The first thing you need to do, and they're mostly all here, effect. Okay. The first thing that you want to do is noise reduction. Okay. Noise reduction. Now, see these settings on my screen? use the same settings in your software. Use these same settings: 12, 6, 3, reduce. Okay, use these same settings. Okay, now for noise reduction, you need to do several steps. One, select, so you can see this cursor icon, right? Select a portion of the audio. Say I select this. Okay, then I go to Effect, Noise Reduction, and I click Get Noise Profile. So it's done. Okay, now you select the whole file. You can just double click and you'll select the whole thing, or you can just go to Edit, select all. Go back to Effect and click Repeat Noise Reduction. So the sample that you selected, it tries to read the ambient noise from that selection, and then once it's studied the noise, you can then apply the thing to the whole WAV file. Okay, so if now you can see this moving on now, you can see this decibel meter, the recording level. Okay, if I was to undo this, okay, so now you can see this moving on now, you can see this. So there's some noise that's been removed from the background. Right. Okay, so that's the first thing that you do. The second thing that you do is this thing called compressor. Again, make sure that the whole wave file, now make sure the whole wave file is selected. Go to compressor. Oops, my wife is messaging me. Okay. Once again, make sure that you choose these values in settings. It should be default. I don't think I changed anything in here, but in case, just make sure they're all the same. And click OK. Alright, done. Next. So you can just do this sequentially. Yeah? Okay, next thing you want to do is you want to go to equalization. Okay, in equalization, you're going to do two things. One, you're going to do a bass boost. Okay. And you're going to go back to equalization again. And you're going to do a treble boost. Okay, so you've done noise reduction, you've done the compression, you've done the bass boost, and you've done the treble boost. Then next you need to click this thing called normalize. Okay, again follow these options. Okay, that's that. Now after this, you'd want to do something called where is it? Level. Where is level? I'm missing something here. Okay. Okay. You can do something called a limiter. Okay. So what this does is basically you're trimming the hedge. You're trimming the hedge. All these little bits that are peeking up, you want to trim it. Okay, make it clean, neat. So you're going to go limiter to a hard limit. Okay, then you're going to do limiter again. You're going to do a soft limit. Now, if you see that after doing that, it's a bit messy. The bushy eyebrows are still bushy. Okay, you can go back to limiter Then you go into soft clip, and then you can do a hard clip. Okay. Now, after doing all of that, you want to increase the volume, because the volume would have reduced. You want to bring that back. Okay, let's play this. Okay, let's play this. Okay, so if I, now you can see this moving on now. You can see this decibel meter, the recording level. Okay, now this is very important because it is showing you what is the level of the recording input. So if you can see, the playback volume is not reaching your -6, -9 level. So what you need to do is you need to amplify to reach that level. Okay, again, make sure that your entire file is selected. Effect, amplify, and you don't really have to do anything here. Just follow, just accept whatever they have offered you as they suggested. Click OK. Done. Okay, so if I, now you can see this moving on now. You can see this decibel meter, the recording level. Okay, now this is very important because it is showing you what is the level of the recording input. Okay, so once you've increased the, or you've amplified, you can see that it gets messy again. So if you want, you can continue to do this limiter, do a hard limit. Okay. Okay, so if I, now you can see this moving on now. If their vocal, if their audio coming through is too low, needing to boost the audio. But if you use a more professional microphone, okay, and when I say microphone, I don't mean a microphone attached to a gaming headset. That's not at the right level yet. That's still quite a low quality kind of product, no matter how much you may have paid for it. Okay, so you would want everybody to be in and around the same level. So that's okay already to go, good to go from a very basic sound editing perspective. You can do other things. You can do something called a low pass filter. Okay, so if I, now you can see this moving on now. You can see this. Okay, what does that mean? Okay, so if I, now you can see this moving on now. You can see this. Okay, I don't know whether you can hear there's a pitch, there's a kind of a high pitch whine at the back. That usually happens when, because the room is untreated, and the mic again is low quality, so it's picking up a lot of ambient sound. So one way to negate that is to do a low pass filter. So it cuts off frequencies at 800. Okay, so if I, now you can see this moving on now. You can see someone needs to keep adjusting. Sometimes they could be over boosted. Okay, if it's always in the red zone, then you might want to reduce it. A normal mobile phone headset with a mic attached, a cheap. Okay, so less noise. I noticed that my voice is very bassy, so I can actually remove the bass as well, bass cut. That's how that sounds. See how their audio coming through is too low. Okay, if they're too low, the mic attached, a cheap headset like the one that I'm currently using, then quality kind of product. Recording this whole the proper. Okay, so that's too thin, so I've put that back now. Okay, what else you can do? Actually, nothing else really. You can Okay, so if I now you can see this moving on now. Okay. Okay. Typically speaking, if you're using a normal um, but if you use a more professional microphone, okay, and when I say microphone, so that's it. You're ready to save this file, and you go into File, Export Audio, select MP3 file. MP3 file will now show once you've installed the Lambda MP3 plugin that I showed you earlier. Okay. Test. Okay. Bitrate preset quality. Choose extreme. Okay. These settings. Save. Okay. In here, you don't have to name this. I usually do the tagging here. All right. So you can just go ahead and save it. And that's it. You're done, guys. Thank you. Hope that was insightful and simple to understand. Until next time.